Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Jacob and Jacob podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Robom, joined by my co-host, Jacob Hare. And Thursday night, the NFL is back. The Houston Texans travel to Kansas City to take on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in what should be a fantastic way to kick off the 2020 NFL season. And we're here to break it down, talk about everything going in with this season, talking about breakout players, MVP predictions, Super Bowl predictions, teams that are going to break out, teams that are going to bust, and we're going to have it all here for you in this episode. So let's get right into it.
Wait,
And let's talk.
and make sure you stay until the very end to hear the winner of our Madden 21 giveaway.
Yep, definitely going to want to hang around for that at the end of this episode. But let's get right into it. Let's start with some division winners and the playoff picture.
You go. You break it down. You break it down.
All right. I mean, the NFC East, I have the Eagles winning the division again.
Okay.
I think that that offense is going to be much better this year.
Mhm.
Hopefully, for the Eagles, the injuries sort of tamper off a little bit especially at receiver. They need a lot of help there, but should be better for them there. And I have them winning that division. The NFC North, I have the Minnesota Vikings. I think that's a very solid team.
Yeah.
I like that offense. I think Kirk Cousins is way better than what he gets credit for. And I think they're pretty good on the defensive side of the ball too. And I think the Packers, I'm not sure how good Aaron Rodgers is going to be. There's some questions about their defense and how good the defense truly is. So it'll be interesting to see how that division plays out. NFC South, I have the New Orleans Saints. The Buccaneers getting a lot of hype. A lot of people expecting them to be very good. But I still think that the Saints get the job done and win that division. But I think the Bucs finish 10-6. And I think they find their way into the wild card spot. Then the NFC West, I have the Seattle Seahawks taking that division. I think Russell Wilson could win the MVP this year. I think he could be poised for not a breakout season, but just a monster year once again. Had it not been for Lamar Jackson's insane numbers last year, Wilson probably would have been the MVP of the league. So I think that team is ready to rock. That Jamal Adams addition on the defensive side of the ball is going to be key for them. It helps them out a lot. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. So how about you give me your NFC division winners before we get into the AFC?
All right. Well, I was writing it down earlier today, and they're actually identical to yours. Same exact thing. So the only difference between mine and yours is I have the Saints as the number 1 seed. And I know you love the Seahawks. You probably have them as your 1 seed.
Yeah. But I can see the Saints getting one.
This is the year where Drew Brees, he gets back to the Super Bowl, and he wins it. All those playoff mishaps in the last past few years, they're over. This is a Drew Brees winning season.
Think we could see an MVP year from Drew Brees?
You know what? I don't think so. I just think they rebuilt it. They got a better defense over the offseason. They got more weapons on offense. They got Emmanuel Sanders. They drafted a few players. And look, Michael Thomas, he's still there. He's going to have another monster season. And now that he has Mel Sanders on the other side of him, it's going to help him a ton. So expect Michael Thomas to go back-to-back and Offensive Player of the Year winner.
So with that being said, the NFC put aside, let's do the AFC. I'll start.
All right.
The AFC East, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills winning that division. I thought they were a really good team last year. And I think New England, it's just losing Brady is going to hurt them a lot. Even if they had Brady, though, I still have Buffalo ahead of them. That team really showed down the stretch, New England, I'm saying, that they weren't as good as they were in the beginning of the year. And I think that that'll carry over into this season. I think they could find their way into the wild card at 9-7. But I think Buffalo takes that division at either 10-6 or 11-5. The AFC North, obvious pick, the Baltimore Ravens. I don't think anyone's picking anybody else to win that division. I think Baltimore is primed for another massive season. And I think they're going to be hungry after falling apart last year in the playoffs to Derrick Henry and the Titans. So I think they're going to come out with a little bit of an edge, wanting to get to that Super Bowl. The AFC South, I have the Houston Texans winning that division, getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins in a very questionable move. They still brought in a good player in David Johnson, who I think helps that offense a lot because he can receive the ball as a running back. It'll help Deshaun Watson be a reliable running back target, someone that he can throw the ball to and dump it off to. And I I still think that receiving core isn't as bad as people are giving it credit for. Will Fuller, we're yet to see what his true potential is. He struggled with injuries. And also Brandon Cooks, who's been a very good receiver in this league. He struggled with injuries, concussions, especially in the past few seasons. So a full healthy season from both of those receivers could mean the Texans find themselves as one of the top offenses in the league. If those two guys can stay healthy and be on the field every Sunday for Watson, that offense could be very, very good. And then the AFC West, similar to the AFC North, we all know who to pick. It's the
Yeah.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
So Patrick Mahomes, he's going to be looking to head back to that Super Bowl and win another one. And also win the MVP once again after that huge, massive contract, the biggest in NFL history. It'll be very exciting to watch the Chiefs this year and see if they are able to repeat as Super Bowl champs.
So I'm definitely going to have to agree with you there. Chiefs, I think, are the obvious pick to repeat as Super Bowl champs. But I have to disagree with you in one of the division winners. I personally think that the Tennessee Titans are going to ride their success from last year's playoffs into the season. Mike Vrabel is a great coach, and he coaches his team to their full potential. And I think they're going to ride Derrick Henry throughout the season. Ryan Tannehill is going to put together another nice season. Because when we saw him step in for Marcus Mariota, he showed that he was a very startable quarterback in the league. And he got that monster contract, and he deserved every penny of it. So I have the Tennessee Titans being the 3rd seed in the AFC. And Mike Vrabel, I think he's coach of the year this year. I mean, I just don't see any reasons why he shouldn't win if he gets the Titans back to the 3rd seed.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think the Titans are a playoff team. I don't think they win that division nonetheless. But, yeah, I think Tannehill, he really proved that he's a starting quarterback in this league after the knee injury that sort of left him out of the Miami job and then traded, of course, to Tennessee. I think Tannehill is a solid starting quarterback, but we'll see how it goes. I want to see how well he does throwing the ball because in that playoff run, it was all Henry. He did a lot of running the ball. But Tannehill was still good last season throwing the ball.
He won the game as the quarterback. There's no fighting that.
Exactly. So let's see if he can keep it up and be consistent with it down the stretch late into this season when they try to make a push for the playoffs. So, yeah, I think that's the only question really with Tennessee. Bringing in Jadeveon Clowney, that's going to be huge for them. That'll be massive.
Awesome.
Getting a player of that caliber on their defense, that is going to be big. So, with that being said, let's get into some wild card teams here. We said our division winners. Now our 3 wild card winners. I'll start with the NFC. I think we're going to have the Dallas Cowboys get in. I still think they're a good team. That offense could be very good. Dak Prescott has a ton of weapons to throw to. I think even at tight end, Blake Jarwin can be pretty good for them. My next wild card team, I'm going to have the 49ers. I think they are going to have –
You think Blake Jarwin's going to be an X factor for the Dallas Cowboys?
I didn't say X factor. I said I think he can be good and play a part in that
good.
offense.
Okay.
I wouldn't say X factor by any means. But, yeah, then my next wild card team, I'm going to have the 49ers, who I think could finish with a better record than some of the teams that win the divisions. But I think with Seattle in that division, I have the 49ers going either 11-5 or 12-4, Seattle 13-3. So we'll see how that ends up. And then my final wild card team, I have the Green Bay Packers getting in with the Vikings winning that division. I think Aaron Rodgers will lead them to either a 9-7 or 10-6 type record, and they'll get in as that 7 seed. So that's my NFC picks. What's yours?
All right, so I have 2 completely different picks, and the comment section might go crazy at me for my picks, but here they are. I have the Dallas Cowboys as the number 1 wild card team. My second wild card team, I have the Bucs, Tampa Bay. My third wild card team might raise some eyebrows. I have the Arizona Cardinals sneaking into that last wild card spot. Look, the addition of DeAndre Hopkins is going to be huge for them. Now that they have an X guy in him and they have the Y guy in Larry Fitzgerald, that offense is just going to be dangerous. And look, San Francisco's a fantastic football team, but right now they're dealing with a lot of injuries. And I think that Super Bowl hangover is going to kick in. I personally don't see them getting into the playoffs in that division, playing the Cardinals. The Rams are still going to go maybe 8-8, 9-7. I don't know. They're not a wild card team in my eyes just because Goff's a poor quarterback. And
Can I stop you for a second? I got to correct myself. I mixed up my my wild card team. I have the Bucs in over the Packers. That's my bad. I had mentioned the Bucs in before. I forgot to mention them there. So I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah. Would have been a disaster if you didn't. But let's go on. So so the 49ers and the Cardinals, they're going to play twice. And I have the Cardinals sweeping the 49ers. I just see that offense destroying the 49ers defense. That might be crazy. The 49ers might have the best defense in the league, but we'll see. And my other wild card team, the Tampa Bay Bucks, Tom Brady's not missing the playoffs. Come on. He's the greatest competitor in football history. He's the greatest player, and he just has that Mamba mentality, which I admire him for. And the Bucks are a very good team with the Fournette signing. They have Mike Evans. They have Chris Godwin. They got a better defense, and they got Brady in O-line. So I really like the Bucks this season. And
Yeah.
let's switch over to the AFC wild card, and I'll let you kick this one off.
Yeah, so I definitely have the Tennessee Titans getting in from the AFC South. From the one thing I want to mention quickly is what you notice with the AFC versus the NFC. The AFC, once you get into sort of the wild card teams, it's not as strong. The
No,
pool of teams is not as strong at all as the NFC. The
pick the
NFC,
East
there's
versus West in the NBA.
a ton of teams that could find their way into a wild card spot. But yeah, when I go into the AFC, I definitely like the Titans getting into the wild card. I think New England gets in just because I don't really see another team that is that good. And then the third wild card spot, I think it's either going to be the Cleveland Browns or the Denver Broncos. I think if Drew Lock is able to have a very good season, that offense could be good with the receivers they brought in. So that could be pretty exciting.
I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their defense is going to be fantastic this year. You got Minka, you got TJ Watt, you just got newly big contract, Cam Hayward. You got a lot of guys there, Joe Hayden. The whole defense is just going to be fantastic, and I'm really excited to watch them destroy the New York Giants on Monday Night Football Week 1. And my second wild card team is the New England Patriots. Look, Belichick's a great coach, the best coach of all time. Bringing in Cam Newton was the move that really made me put them at the wild card spot. I was seeing reports that Cam's teammates were so impressed with him that they even made him the captain. And I personally think that a healthy Cam will get that Patriots team into the playoffs. Even though they had all the opt-outs and they had a few injuries, all that, Belichick will find a way to get that team in the playoffs. And my last wild card team also might raise some eyebrows. I have the Cleveland Browns sneaking in. I think Kevin Stefanski was the best coaching hire of the whole offseason. And I really like his run-heavy offense. And as we saw with the Vikings, they flourished. They even beat the Saints in the first round. So that's why I have the Browns sneaking in. And I expect a bounce-back season from Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly could see that happening. I don't completely disagree with your picks. So let's move on from division winners and the playoff picture in both conferences. Let's get into some breakout teams, some bust teams, and of those teams that might bust and teams that might just flat out not be good, that weren't good last year. What coaches are going to be on the hot seat as a result of that? So first for breakout teams, I'll list some for me. I think the Arizona Cardinals certainly have the potential to. I'm not sure if they're going to, but I think they definitely have potential to. An obvious choice, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That offense is loaded, and the defense is not too shabby itself.
I
So
wouldn't really call them a breakout team just because Tom Brady.
yeah.
Yeah, but I get your point. They were
However, they still they've sort of last season they weren't great.
yeah.
So for them to come out this year, obviously a completely new roster, sort of. If you think about it, the quarterback position, just
Mhm.
when you change quarterbacks, it's like it's a game changer. You could go from one bad quarterback and you could bring in a good quarterback, and your offense could go from 25th in the league to 5th in the league, just like that. So it shows how important the quarterback is, because without Tom Brady, people wouldn't be giving the Bucks this much hype. People would be like, same old team.
Going
So
from Jameis to Brady is like going from the original iPhone to the iPhone 11 in a year.
yes,
That's how big a game changer it is.
exactly. And then AFC breakout teams, the Cleveland Browns. People had them on their list last year. I think this could be the year they do it with the new coach. I didn't really like Freddie Kitchens all that much, so I think it'll be interesting to see how Baker Mayfield fares this season. He certainly has the weapons around him to succeed. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, two elite receivers in this league that can both play the game very well, and also a very good tight end in Austin Hooper, and a second tight end in David Njoku, who's also very good. So I think the weapons around him are great. And then one more breakout team, I have the Tennessee Titans. I think they could be very good. It depends how Tannehill does, if he's able to play consistently well at QB. And if he does, that Tennessee team could be finding themselves near the top of the AFC.
So let's move on to bust teams. My number one bust team is the Green Bay Packers. look, last year when you watched them, you weren't very impressed with them. You saw them get blown out in that NFC Championship game. And drafting Jordan Love in the first round isn't going to help them this season. They needed a second receiver. Alan Lazard is not a second receiver in the NFL. And look, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have any weapons this year besides, of course, the great Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones. But still, his tight ends are rookies. His wide receiver is what would be considered a fourth receiver on most teams. And the defense isn't so great. I mean, I know they have Jair Alexander. I know they have the great up front. Their linebackers aren't great. Look, the biggest thing to me that stands out to them also is the loss of Blake Martinez, who went to the Giants. He was a fantastic linebacker. And if you don't have good linebacker play in the NFL, you're not going to win very many games. So I have the Packers at a 8-8 this year, and I just don't see them making the playoffs.
Yeah, I certainly could see that happening. I think there's some questions about Aaron Rodgers. I still think Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback,
Yeah,
and I feel like he
not
feels
not
like he has more to prove. He definitely wants to win another Super Bowl. I think he still feels like he's an elite quarterback, and I still think he is a top quarterback in the league. But we need to see him bring that team far into the playoffs. The Packers were very good last year, so we'll see how they fare this year. So coaches, new hires this year. What about coaches that might find themselves out the door should they fail to succeed this season with their teams?
well. There's one guy that just stands out to me, and that guy is Doug Marrone. Look, he didn't have control of the locker room for the past couple of years. You saw it with Jalen Ramsey. You saw it with A.J. Boye. You saw it with Leonard Fournette. You've seen it with a ton of guys. That Jags locker room is just a complete mess, and he doesn't have any say or any control over it. So for me, I know that Jags are going to be god-awful this year. His job, he will not be a coach in the NFL next year, 100%. He is done. And look, I mean, unless he makes some magical playoff run, which I just don't see happening, he won't have a job next year. And the Jags, honestly, I was the Jags GM. If they get the first pick, they get Trevor. Give Dabo a John Gruden contract. Bring Dabo and Trevor to Duval. Make that happen.
That'd be interesting. One coach for me that I certainly see on the hot seat has to be Bill O'Brien. This
Okay.
Texans team, they've been a playoff team the past few years. Bill O'Brien's made some questionable trades, and
Let me stop you there for a second. I would put Bill O'Brien on the hot seat as the GM, not the coach. More like a chip
yeah,
coach. I
I I could see that. But however, I still think that if the Texans, if they fail to make the playoffs, Bill O'Brien, I think he's going to get fired for sure.
yeah.
I don't think they're going to fail to make the playoffs, but I think that's a team that people have had a lot of high expectations for the past few seasons, and they haven't been really a top team in the AFC yet. They've been a solid team, but we've seen them exit early on Wild Card Weekend, and then we've really haven't seen so much playoff success for them. They had a real chance to make it to the conference championship last year, and then we saw what happened there, blowing that massive lead to the Chiefs. So I think the Texans, they need to be successful this year. They need to make the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, O'Brien's job is fine, but I think if they don't make the playoffs, O'Brien's done.
Even if they make the playoffs, I could see the Texans firing O'Brien. Look, I don't think this guy is a person that's going to bring you to the promised land and win you the Lombardi trophy. So I could see a situation like we saw a couple years ago where the Titans fired their coach and then they brought in Mike Vrabel. And look how that turned out. They went to an AFC championship game, and I consider them a top team in the AFC this season. So unless I think this year it's AFC championship game or Super Bowl or bust for O'Brien.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So moving on from coaches on the hot seat, let's talk about the rookies who are put into pretty good situations. I'll start. I'm going to say I like Justin Jefferson in Minnesota. I think he fills the role of Diggs pretty nicely. I think he gets to play behind a guy in Adam Thielen who's going to see double coverage some games, and he's going to get a lot of attention from defenses, which will allow a guy like Justin Jefferson to sort of hover under the radar and get in some extra targets and some catches, because defenses are going to be lacking attention to him and focusing the attention to Thielen, and also focusing attention to the running back and Dalvin Cook. So I think Jefferson's in a good spot where he can come in and produce early in a good Vikings offense.
For me, the biggest standout is Patrick Queen, linebacker, Baltimore Ravens. Look, this dude went from Baton Rouge, the defending college football champions, to the Baltimore Ravens, who are the maybe 2021 Super Bowl champions. And look, John Harbaugh and linebackers are like a match made in heaven. Every linebacker Harbaugh has had, they've turned out to have a fantastic season. So I think Queen is going to go down to Baltimore, dominate, and he's my rookie of the year, or defensive rookie of the year pick. and I could see him having 100 tackles, maybe even more. I'm a huge Queen fan, and I think that he landed in the perfect spot.
So, aside from rookies, who are some quarterbacks that you think have the chance to certify themselves as top QBs in this league this season?
All right. Well, obviously, my obvious answer, Kyler Murray. I think that if he proves that he can lead a team to the playoffs and he can win in that tough, brutal division, he's going to be a top quarterback in the league for a while. And last year, I was watching a few Cardinals games, and Cliff Kingsbury, like, it was either like sometimes it was like 4th and goal, 4th and 1, whatever. Kingsbury didn't go for it, and which surprised me. And a lot of those points went to the kicker, Zane Gonzalez, who kicked the field goal. But this year, he shows more like what Doug Peterson did with Carson Wentz in year 2. Kyler Murray's going to have a breakout season and win MVP, as I said in earlier videos and earlier today. But I'm just a huge Kyler fan, and I think he has a very, very good shot to solidify himself as a top quarterback in the league. And another guy I have is Josh Allen. Look, I'm not a huge Josh Allen fan. The accuracy isn't there, but if Josh Allen can put together a nice season, rush for 500-plus yards, throw for 25 touchdowns, and limit his interceptions this year, Josh Allen can be a top 10 quarterback in the league for a while and earn himself a monster contract and be a Buffalo Bill until he retires.
Yeah, I certainly think Josh Allen definitely has the potential to do that. I think this is a very big year for him because he's going to get ready to sign a contract soon. So if he wants to get that, if he wants to get the bag and get paid big money, he's going to have a good year for Buffalo, and Buffalo definitely needs to win that division for him to get that big of a contract. But so we talk about teams that have QBs that are going to step up this year. What about teams that are going to be looking for a new QB this year? For me, one choice that's pretty obvious is Jacksonville. I think Gardner Minshew is a fine player. He's a fine quarterback, but I think we all know who they have their eye on. His name starts with a T and ends with an R. It's Trevor, and last name Lawrence. Pretty good quarterback out of Clemson. I think a lot of teams love to have him, and I think Jacksonville is a great spot for him. Sunshine. So I think it'll be Trevor Lawrence who goes first to Jacksonville next year. And it's not anything against Gardner Minshew, but I don't think he's very good. And B, I just think Jacksonville, they want a quarterback of the future, and I don't think Gardner's that. I mean, he could surprise us, and I think he certainly could have the ability to come out and have a good season, and maybe Jacksonville won't be as bad as everyone's saying they're going to be. And it's not completely his fault if they have a bad year. The team around him really isn't that great. The defense is fine, but the team around him still it struggles. So I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be the new quarterback in Jacksonville next year.
Let me ask you a question.
Can I pause for a second? One more thing. And even if Trevor Lawrence gets drafted by Jacksonville next year, it doesn't mean that Gardner Minshew might not be playing quarterback for them week 1 next season, because it doesn't mean that Trevor Lawrence is going to go in and start for them right off the bat. I just think that it'll certainly be a new quarterback coming into Jacksonville next season, whether they're starting or not.
Let me ask you a question. What's the bigger chance of happening this season? Baltimore Ravens go 16-0, or the Jacksonville Jaguars go 0-16?
I'm going to go Jaguars 0-16.
Yeah. It is you've only seen 2 teams in NFL history win 16 games in a season, and only one of them won the Super Bowl, as we saw Tom Brady lose to the David Tyree helmet catch Giants. So it is very hard to win every football game because any given Sunday, anything can happen. But
yeah, well, how about you name one team that's going to be looking for a new quarterback?
The obvious answer is the Las Vegas Raiders. Look, Derek Carr, ever since that gruesome leg injury a couple seasons ago, has not been a good quarterback in the NFL. He has struggled mightily at times. And I personally think that if Derek Carr doesn't even take them to the playoffs or puts together a 500 season, Oakland's going to be moving on. And that doesn't mean Marcus Mariota. I know he's the backup. I think they're going to either be drafting Trey Lance out of North Dakota State, and I've watched his highlights. He's going to be a fantastic quarterback. And maybe even Justin Fields becomes a Las Vegas Raider next season. So I'm just worried that Derek Carr is not going to be in the league next year. Or he'll be in the league, just not as a starter.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be pretty interesting. So when you look to awards for this year, Coach of the Year, MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, give us your picks. I can start if you want.
Yeah, you start.
I'll go with my MVP pick. I said it before. I have Russell Wilson winning the MVP in the Seahawks. getting the number one seed in the NFC. As my rookie of the year, that's a tough pick for me. I think it's
Defense
gonna
or
be Joe
offense?
Burrow. I think it's Burrow. I just
Okay.
He's coming in quarterback. I think if he impresses, I think if he throws for 22 plus touchdowns, I think he will win that award.
Yeah.
Defensive player of the year, I think it's going to be T.J. Watt or Minka Fitzpatrick from Pittsburgh. I like their defense a lot. T.J. Watt probably feels like he should have won that award also. And one more player that I think I have my eye on for that award is Nick Bosa of the 49ers, a rookie last year. He is so good, and he's going to win
He's a very good football player.
that in the future, and he might win more than one. And yeah, so my offensive player of the year is going to be Christian McCaffrey once again, or Saquon Barkley for the Giants.
Well, actually, let me point something out to you. The last 10 Offensive Player of the Year awards have been players who've made the playoffs. Both of their teams are not going to make the playoffs. So, do you really see either of them winning the award?
I think if McCaffrey really just dazzles this year once again, I
Okay.
don't see how they couldn't give it to him. I think it would be a little bit unfair because the season he had last year was so good. And I think this year, if he has another monster year like that, I think it'd be almost unfair, sort of robbing him of that award if they didn't give it to him.
Okay. I was just asking. Maybe if you had them
No,
sneak into the playoffs.
all good.
All right. So, any more Coach of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year? Who do you have?
Oh, coach of the year. I think for me, coach of the year could be a very dark horse team, the Atlanta Falcons. I think Dan Quinn.
Okay.
If the Atlanta Falcons team, if that offense starts to play like that offense can play with Todd Gurley coming in, if Ridley steps up, obviously Julio Jones, Matt Ryan's a very solid quarterback. I think if that team could be dangerous and they could be very good, I think Dan Quinn could find himself winning that award if the Falcons have a very good year.
All right. Comeback Player of the Year?
Comeback player of the year. I got to think of players that who's coming off of an injury. I'm trying to think. Um, hmm.
You know what? I'll come back to you with that. Think about that one. We'll get back to that one
All
later.
right, I'll think
All right.
about it.
Let me run through mine for a second. MVP, I got the young gunner in Arizona, Kyler Murray. I think he just takes his game to the new level with DeAndre Hopkins, and he follows the trend of second-year quarterbacks winning MVP. And my defense player of the year, he's hated by most NFL fans, as he should be. But Myles Garrett, that dude is just a monster on defense, and I personally think that he leads the NFL in sacks, and he's just a force to be reckoned with. And my offensive player of the year, as I gave my stat earlier about the last 10 offensive player of the years have made the playoffs, I got to go Mike Thomas winning back-to-back in that award. He's just so unguardable, as his name is Can't Guard Mike on Twitter and Instagram. Can't Guard Mike is just the best receiver in football, and he might be the best receiver since Antonio Brown or Calvin Johnson. He's just fantastic. And my offensive rookie of the year is Chiefs running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And if you haven't had your fantasy draft so far, make sure you go out and get Clyde. I know Clyde's just going to tear it up in KC. Everyone knows Andy Reid and running backs are like a match made in heaven. So I think Clyde wins that award. And Clyde's college teammate, Patrick Queen, will win the Defensive Player of the Year award for the Baltimore Ravens. Look, I gave my whole thing on Patrick Queen earlier in the video, but if you want to go, if you haven't seen that already, if you skip to this part, go back and check it out. And Coach of the Year for me, I said it earlier, Mike Vrabel. And my comeback player of the year, the man who hurt his elbow last year, Big Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, I actually I have my pick now for that award. I'm going to go with Matt Stafford from the Lions. I think
Okay.
the Lions could finish around 8-8, 9-7, but I think Stafford has a good season, and I think he might find himself winning that award.
That was my second pick. I was between him and Ben for the last week. I was split between that. Both very, very good quarterbacks.
So should we give our Super Bowl pick and then get into the Madden giveaway?
We'll do bold takes, then we'll do Super Bowl, then we'll get into the Madden.
All right.
All
So 3 bold takes. I'll go first. I'm gonna have I'm gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys get the number 1 seed in the NFC. I'm gonna say the Pittsburgh Steelers win the AFC North,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna say the Green Bay Packers finish under 500.
Wow. All right.
They're bold. They're bold. I don't even agree with these, but I'm just bold takes, things that would be crazy if they happened. So that's what I got to say.
All right, I'll give you my bold takes for the NFL season. Aaron Jones doesn't finish the season in a Packers jersey. He's traded. My other bold take is Nick Chubb leads the NFL in rushing by a mile. And my last bold take is Calvin Ridley becomes Atlanta's #1 receiver next season. That's
Well,
all. And
all
then
right.
Super Bowl, you do the honors. You go first.
I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks and the Baltimore Ravens. I
Okay.
think that would be such an exciting matchup with Russell Wilson and Lamar Jackson. It would just be awesome. And you?
All right. Me, I got the New Orleans Saints against the Baltimore Ravens, and I have the Saints winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I got to say who I have winning. I think the Seahawks get the job done.
MVP,
Behind
Russell
it,
Wilson.
winning quarterback Russell Wilson.
Okay. Wow. You're really on that Seahawks wagon this year.
Yes, sir.
All right. And
So
let's get into it.
now is what everyone's been waiting for. So we have our bag of names in here. I'm gonna mix them up, and we're gonna pick out the winner.
No, thank you for everyone who entered. We really appreciate it, and good luck to everyone.
Yep. Here we go, mixing it up. All right. We have Ben Krefitz as our Madden 20 giveaway. There's the name right there. So
Madden 20.
congratulations to Ben. We'll send you a DM with the information of when you'll get the game and how you'll get the game. Thanks to everyone that entered. And what were you going to say?
We're going to do some more giveaways this year, so stay tuned. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, follow our Instagram @_Jacob and Jacob podcast, and just thank you for supporting. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks to everyone that subscribes to the videos and likes the Instagram. And everyone enjoy the return of football. It all starts Thursday night, 8:20 on NBC with the Houston Texans and Deshaun Watson heading to Kansas City to take on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. So everyone definitely tune into that game, and we'll see you guys next week.
And we have another big announcement coming up in our next video, so stay tuned.